Alright, everybody. Today we are gonna, make a little Kizaru concept, how he might work in OnePiece Bounty Rush, of course. He should be coming, I hope, as one of the EXs for this anniversary, but there is a Bounty Fest reveal, a special Bounty Fest reveal live stream on the 3rd. So I really hope they don't make him Bounty Fest, but I wouldn't put it past them. But, of course, Kizaru easily deserves EX. I mean, yeah, if they don't make him EX, that's going to be absolutely scam. But if Kizaru's the EX, so I'm not sure. I think he could be the first or second EX. I don't think he's going to be the main, but I think it would be, I mean, I guess he did just get animated, but I don't know. I kind of feel like he might be the second EX, not the first one. So he'll come out in, so May is the first EX. I believe late June / early July will be the second EX, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but somewhere around then. But yeah, Kizaru, I mean, it doesn't really matter when he comes, as long as he becomes an EX, that's fine with me. So, Kizaru, I'm gonna assume, is gonna be a heavy counter to Kuzan. Not like Kuzan needs a really heavy counter. I mean, I guess Niji, like, Kizaru can still, Kuzan can still destroy Niji, even though he counters him. You can still catch him off guard, just don't let him perfect dodge you and you'll be fine. And then, who else counters him? I mean, Garp, you can say kinda counters him. He counters Garp, of course, but Garp can also, destroy him still. And then Shiryu, I would say, is probably his best counter. I mean, he can just one-shot Kuzan if you know how to play him. But I believe, this character being a runner, Kuzan being the best EX in the game currently, in my opinion, I believe Kizaru will somewhat counter Kuzan. It would make the most sense, because he'll be fighting the Kuzans more often. It'll just be like, S-Snake got her counter, whatever, who was it again? I mean, I guess Kuzan kind of counters her. Sabo, she could still handle a Sabo if you're good enough and stuff like that. But, usually characters get an EX counter. Roger, Garp counters Roger. I mean, Shanks kind of countered him even though he had type disadvantage, stuff like that. And, yeah, usually they all get a counter. So, Kizaru, I think, is going to be a red runner. That makes the most sense to me. Of course, if he's not a runner, I would be surprised. I mean, I guess he already has a runner, but, it's not like they haven't done back-to-back same type character, class character, they've done in the past. And I say red because Yamato and Ace were the last red EX we got. Of course, we got S-Snake and Lucci, we got Sabo and Kuzan, so now we just need, a runner. A red character, that we haven't had in so long. I think a small possibility, he could be light. I wonder what they're gonna do. So, we got 2 blues in, whatever anniversary that was. 5th anniversary, I think it was. 5.5, whatever one it was. 2 blues, we got S-Snake and Lucci. And then we got 2 greens in the 6th anniversary, being Kuzan and Sabo. So, does that mean there's gonna be 2 reds this anniversary? And then the main EX will probably be light element. It seems like they're switching back and forth from light and dark. Of course, we had Roger and Whitebeard. They were both light and dark. That was the introduction of light and dark element. Then we had Shanks, right? Yeah, we had Shanks as the main EX. And then we had, of course, Garp as the first EX of the 6th anniversary. So, does that mean they're going to go... I mean, I assume they're going to do a light. Honestly, light element kind of lacking. I mean, Shanks was good. He's still usable as long as there's not a Garp in the game. But, yeah, I don't know. I think Dark Element is 1,000 times better than Light Element so far. So, we'll probably get a good Light. But he could be Light Runner or, I think, Red Runner. I think those are the 2 options. I think I'd prefer him to be Red Runner. It seems like they save Light Element for, like, the big characters, Shanks, Roger, Whitebeard, Garp. Seems like, yeah, the big characters will be, the right typing. Blackbeard, I assume, will be light or dark. Dark makes sense, but, it doesn't seem like there's a pattern. So, for Kizaru, so I think his skill 1, I think it would be very cool for his skill 1, or, I mean, skill 2, skill 1, it doesn't matter. I mean, this will probably be a skill 2, but, it doesn't really matter which is which, in my opinion. But of course, every runner usually has a leap kind of move slash a running room. You know, Roger's running move, Lucci has his teleporting move. You know, each runner pretty much has ability like that. King has his flying move, Frankie has his motorcycle. You know, EX or non-EX, they all have it except Shanks. I mean, Shanks can kind of teleport with his skill too, but yeah. Very rarely they don't have a leaping slash teleporting type move. So I think he's gonna have. He could have something like Sabo, you know, where he just uses his light power to fly. You know, we've seen him do it before, I believe. But also I think they could add a little twist. Maybe press it. He'll like do the V1 Kizu kind of teleport across the map type move. But if you hold it, it'll just be a normal running move. I think that'd be very cool if they did that. And then his skill 2, so his skill 2 could be multiple. This is the one I want him to have, or skill 1, skill 2, it doesn't really matter. I don't think they'll give it to him, but this is the one I want him to have. So he makes clones, so you activate the skill. He maybe like blinds the enemy or something, and then makes a ton of light clones of himself. And then they can go off and grab treasures. They can't attack, they can't do anything, they just go off and grab a treasure. They basically act as bots. Like, it summons 3 bot Kizarus that will just go off in different directions and try to grab the flag. That makes it so the enemy, of course, has to still deal with them, but they also have to figure out which one is you. You know, it wouldn't really be fun if they just, walked around whatever. It would, like, they have to be semi-useful, which would, it is a broken ability, but or his other skill, I mean, he could do the same thing. Maybe he teleports on top of the enemy, summons clones, and attacks them or whatever. Kind of boring, but I like the clone, whatever. And also, or they could just give him basic, other skill 2, light speed kick. It can knock the enemy back very far. Of course, runners usually have a big knockback ability, so they can get them away from the treasure, so they can grab it easier. And so, of course, Kizu, I think he needs to counter Kuzan. So how he will counter Kuzan, I assume they're going to somehow give him, an attack that can go through obstacles. That makes the most sense to me. Imagine if Kizu himself can go through obstacles. I mean, that doesn't really make sense. We've never really seen him squeeze between, like, walls and stuff. Something like Corona could have that, but what happens if he could just use his light ability to go through, like, walls and stuff? That would be broken, but cool. Otherwise, yeah, I think he'll just have a skill, maybe a light beam, normal that can go through Kuzan's walls, stuff like that. And also, of course, he'll probably have status effect ignore or delay or something, because, if he wants to counter Kuzan, he'll have to have that, or he's just gonna get frozen and killed. At least above a certain HP, he has to have it. And then, of course, each runner has their own ability. Roger has his stun, Sabo has his counter. Kuzan, I think he could get a new status effect called, like, Logia status effect, or maybe just light status effect or something, where when he's on the treasure, he can't really be hit. I mean, of course, just like a normal Logia, you can't really hit to him. Of course, there's got to be a way to counter it. I'm not sure how they would counter it or what would happen. Maybe only like knockback skills, certain knockback skills can knock him off the treasure or something like that. You know, he'll just, yeah. And maybe, or they could do it like King's Flame. I'm not sure if they would, where he gets 3 free hits. And then, I mean, they did that with Roger, so I don't see why they couldn't do it with Kizu. He gets Logia whatever state while he grabs a flag. He gets 3 free hits while he's grabbing the flag, only when he's grabbing the flag, where the enemy cannot damage you in any way, shape, or form. That'll be just like King, kinda just like Roger, except Roger stuns him. Maybe he could also have the ability, maybe he can grab the flag, and if an enemy tries to hit you, you can get blinded. Maybe he could use his light to blind you, something like that. I'm not sure if they would add a blinding effect to the game, but it would be very cool to see. Not really sure what else they could give him for skills and stuff, so, I mean, like I said, he'll either have a teleporting skill or a run fast kind of skill where he can fly around in his light form, something like that. Like I said, most runners, if not, I mean, yeah, not all of them, it's a very, very rare you don't get a runner with a, leap, teleport, something, skill. Even Odin, the first runner EX, well, actually, no, he's not the first runner EX. Odin has his little leap skill. You could use it to attack the enemy, or you could choose to use it to get a little, further, faster. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see on the 3rd if Bandai scams us and makes Kizaru a bounty fest. I mean, it's so weird they're making, usually when they make a bounty fest live stream, I mean, I think it's bounty fest. It says legendary character, not extreme legendary character, so it has to be bounty fest, unless if I'm somehow misreading it. But yeah, if they make, like, why are they making a live stream? Are they gonna make a live stream for someone on hype? I doubt that. Who is really hype right now? I mean, I guess they made a live stream for Blackbeard Pirates, which were pretty hype. So maybe more Blackbeard Pirates. I hope. Who else could they do? The Revolutionaries, the other two commanders, whatever. But yeah, just please do not be Kizaru as Bounty Fest. Anything but that. But yeah, that is my concept for Kizaru. Of course, there's many things they could do to Kizaru. Like I said, the main thing though, I believe they will make him 100%, Kuzan counter. Because, like I said, we don't necessarily need a Kuzan counter, but, it would be nice. Yeah, like I said, usually an EX gets an EX, counter, every time.